This just in, breaking news, our top and only story tonight. I have a huge announcement that I'm going to make. And the announcement is this: I am finally, after all of these years, going to get a reasonable haircut. I'm just kidding. At this point, I'm pot committed. I do have some big news though. As of today, I have officially bought part of the largest card room here in Austin, Texas, The Lodge. Other part owners include Brad Owen, Andrew Nemi, and Jacob Dalla. We've also brought on some of the same people that made Upswing Poker successful: Mike Brady, Ryan Fee, Matt Coletta, and of course, Seriously Serious, aka the sketchy video editor that makes everyone look bad by lying.
With his bullshit editing.
You know, cut to your interjection and then cut to this and cut to that.
One small snippet was taken completely out of context.
Carefully cut together to tell a one-sided story and intentionally make me look bad.
Take what I said out of context and to actually make it seem as though that's my position.
I'm not the editor. We can definitely get Thomas here as well.
I've never said that in my life.
You're basically making me look like a liar, and I think that's, fundamentally pretty fucked up.
Don't worry, I've already had a talk with Thomas and we're clear about how to behave moving forward. Hey Thomas, thanks for taking this call. I just wanted to briefly talk about some of the work that you've been doing lately, or rather over the last several years. Of course, the bulk of it has been phenomenal. You're a fantastic editor, but sometimes your edits do make people look a little bit bad, and it perhaps mocks them in a way. And of course, jokes can have real impacts on people's livelihood, especially if they're not able to tell that they are jokes. So I think moving forward, we should really, maybe double check some of these, run them by me. Let's make sure that we're on the exact same page. And of course, let's try to show things in their entirety, because I'm sure you feel quite bad about some of these incidents that we've had in the past.
I regret nothing.
So is that a yes?
No.
Or no. Kind of where we at after that. Anyway, we're kicking things off with a bang with Monster Meetup Week from January 24th to January 30th. We have a phenomenal schedule of events for you lined up, including streams that you can watch, tons of games you can show up and play, the world's largest monthly live poker tournament's going to be running, and then much, much more going on as well. If you want to see the whole schedule, I'll put a link in the description below to a video over on The Lodge where I break down exactly what we're going to be going through. Before we talk about some of the specifics here of what's going to be happening at The Lodge, I want to talk about Texas poker in general. For a lot of you guys, you might be thinking, wow, I didn't really realize how big Texas poker was. And that's pretty stupid, because it's right there in the name. I'll admit I was one of those people. In fact, I didn't know poker was here at all until I got a coffee and looked over and there was a card room next door. From there, I went to all the different card rooms in Austin and realized that this is actually a very large business here in the city. And it's also going on across the state in places like Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio. At this point, it became clear, with over 60 rooms in the state and seemingly endless growth, it was time to make a move. So I got in contact with two people that I knew would be absolutely essential for the long-term success of any room: Brad Owen and Andrew Nemi. Over the last 4 years, poker vlogging has absolutely exploded, and these guys are the OGs. I think a lot of people got into poker vlogging because of Andrew, and Brad's audience size today is frankly massive. I still can't believe how many people watch these vlogs. If Andrew, Brad, and I could work together, we would be an unstoppable force here in the Texas market. I wasn't sure if this is something that Andrew would be interested in, but I knew for a fact I could get Brad because I've appeared in not one, but 2 different raps about his cat. Too soon? Might be too soon. As luck would have it, this is something that Brad and Andrew had already been looking for, so it was a perfect time for us to band together and create a unit. We also at that point brought in lots of other people that we thought were useful, and we set out to potentially open our own room. As we started to look around town to open up shop, one thing became abundantly clear. We had no idea how to open a poker room. Okay, it probably wouldn't be impossible to open our room, but it would certainly take some time. We're talking about something like 6, 12, 18 months. And of course, we'd have to bring in someone that knew what they were doing. And while a lot of people did apply over on Twitter, and I definitely appreciate everyone submitting their applications, we realized that it might be a better avenue to look and talk to some of the bigger rooms here in the market already and possibly try to work out some kind of partnership. After a few conversations with people around town, I ended up talking to Jason over at The Lodge, and I absolutely love the job that Jason and his family have done to build The Lodge to what it is today. Currently, The Lodge is the largest room in Austin. It has 60 poker tables, and I'll show you guys a few images of the room. This is what the room looks like from the outside. This is what the room looks like from the inside. As you can see, it is quite large. And this is the sign that's on the wall. The Lodge Mahal. I'm pretty sure it's because the Lodge rhymes with Taj. The Lodge just upgraded units. They actually moved over from a different place in the same shopping center, but this is a pretty serious upgrade, and the room is quite nice on the inside. Very clean, very open, a lot of space. I love the room. Now, you might be asking yourself, how can places like this exist? Is gambling legal in Texas? Well, the answer is kinda. Basically, you can't have an establishment where the house profits off the players. Basically, the house can't be taking bets or have any stake in the result of the players. However, what is allowed are social clubs where people sign up and pay a membership fee, and then people pay by the hour to sit in a seat and play poker. So you can't take a rake, you can't take money off the table. The house can have no incentive in how the action goes. However, people can pay to be a part of a private club. This model has proven quite popular, but I'm afraid it's going to be pretty bad for the players, mainly because there's no rake, and we all know, don't you fucking dare, Thomas.
If the rake is too high, it's actually better.
I've never said that in my life.
On the other hand, I've played in these games a few times, and they are beautiful. Poker Strategy went back in time 10 years here in Texas. We have a few different goals with the Lodge. Our first goal is to continue to make the Lodge the place to play poker in Austin, Texas. It's already the biggest place, and it's already, in my opinion, the best place to play poker, but we're going to do our best to continue to make that a reality with planned trips from both Andrew and Brad, and 2 times a week I'm going to be driving down there on Wednesdays and Fridays to play some poker. That's right, I'm going to be playing poker 2 times a week, so I guess the retirement is officially on at this point. What are you going to do, you know? What are you going to do? Step 2 is going to be no, I'm just kidding. Step 2 is going to be to open up new branches of the room around the country. I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver here because I'm already doing that on all 27 of my YouTube channels. But I do think there's space for a room to grow in underserved markets around the country where the laws of the state allow for those rooms to exist. Probably only those states. One of the issues with poker in some of these areas is it can get kind of dicey, and the best example most recently is the one that happened in Houston with Johnny Chan's 88 Social, where players couldn't get paid out their own money at the room. That simply cannot happen in a poker room. You can't close your doors and not pay out players. Players have enough problems going on to have to worry about the room itself stealing their money like that. Now, I think there's a new owner that bought them out and they're changing the brand and whatever else, so maybe it works out for the players. I don't know. But one thing I can absolutely guarantee you of, we're going to do things right at the Lodge. For people that already play at the Lodge, you might be worried we're going to come in and make a ton of changes. And that's not the game plan at all. I want to preserve what's been built here in Austin because I think it really is something special. I want to make it better in certain ways, maybe some small changes here and there. But the core of what the Lodge is, the brand that's been built, I want to keep that intact. I want to bring that to other cities around the country. I mentioned this a little bit in the video linked before that talks about the upcoming schedule, but really the most important thing for players is to have games running. A lot of the rooms here in Texas are small and they suffer from game selection. You can't get games in a lot of them, and they don't have games running overnight. The Lodge is 24/7 with games running around the clock, so you should always be able to get some action. Also, by having tournament series and these different streams and hosted cash games, there should be more and more options for you as a player to get to play and choose what you want to play, and that's really what it's about at the end of the day, servicing the members and making sure that people have an opportunity to play what they want when they want it. I also want to say that I believe in the Lodge so much that I've put my money where my mouth is. I've made a substantial investment into the room to become a part of it, and so have Brad Owen and Andrew Nemi. I'm extremely excited for what we got coming up on Monster Meetup Week with the biggest ever meetup game in Texas history, and then also the monthly Monster Tournament. We've also got lots of streams and games going on. I mentioned it earlier, but again, the link is in the description below. You can check out the full schedule from January 24th to January 30th at the Lodge. I want to say one last thing before I go. It's really important to me to get feedback from the community. I've always prided myself on listening to what you guys have to say, and I want to make sure that we do right by you. So if you've played at the Lodge, what are some of the things you really like? What are some of the things you don't like? If you are in an area that you think could use a card room down the road, let me know. Let me know what you think. Where are places that might make sense? And then also, if you have any feedback on the online presence of the Lodge, let me know. Basically, guys, I'm going to read through what everyone has to say. I want to always be at least aware of some of the common thinking and thought process. And even though sometimes the ideas might not make sense, it's important to understand what your community wants. And I always appreciate getting feedback from you guys. Unless it's about my socks, or my hair, or upswing, or if my jokes are funny, or if my jokes aren't funny.